Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Night Show on Boro Fan TV. This week, I'm joined again by Joe Scott, and this week we've got Paddy Cronesberry, MBE. Welcome to the show, lads.
Welcome, morning, evening.
How are we all doing? Are we all okay?
Yeah, COVID-free at the moment.
Good stuff. On tonight's programme, everybody, we're going to be talking to Paddy about the work that the Boro Disabled Supporters Association do. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to look back at Saturday's game against Norwich, which brought Boro their first home defeat in the league this season. So we'll have a chat in depth about that game, and we're also going to look ahead to this week's clashes with Derby County and Huddersfield. So, Paddy, welcome to the show. It's great to get you on Boro Fan TV. How are you doing, pal?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. Better than I was on Saturday night, but getting there, mate, now, yeah.
It's only a blip.
That's it, exactly.
I blame the manager of the month trophy.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it is a bit of a curse, that thing, isn't it?
Certainly is, yeah. Mind you, the referees don't help, like, do they?
Well, we'll get on to that in a bit, Paddy, about some of the decisions that were made in Saturday's game. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk about the Disabled Supporters Association, Paddy, and your part in it. Can you just explain to people what they offer and the work that they do?
Well, we started off when the Boro got to Wembley for the Zenith Data Trophy.
Right.
And we were shocked to find out that we were only going to be allowed 3 tickets for a final. For 3 disabled tickets for a final.
Yeah.
So, you know me, I'm such a silent smoking person. I don't say, but yeah, absolutely. But it got my hackles up a bit. So I went to the club. I said, "What's a crack here? What's this 3 tickets for a major fight? Well, major for us at the time.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous, you know what I mean?" And anyway, we didn't get a lot of joy, but they did promise to back us. And at the finish, we went, because we got no sort of good response, we went to the national media.
Right.
I don't know if you remember a guy called, what was he? Used to work for the Daily Express, James.
Is it Lawton?
Lawton, James Lawton, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely astounded with the situation. So he got all his media guys, and they backed us to the hilt. The result being that we ended up getting 60 spaces at Wembley.
Amazing.
But they were on like a prefab builders boards and scaffolding.
Wembley wasn't that good at the time, like, was it?
Yeah. But the downside was it was all in the Chelsea end.
Oh.
So there was plenty of outshade, Joe. Whenever we got a corner or anything like that, and we started shouting whatever, then the inevitable happened. And when Chelsea scored, we got cups of tea and coins and all sorts lobbed over at us, and stewards just weren't interested. It was you'll be all right.
Yeah.
So after that, it was a little bit of a learning curve. So we thought, well, the only way we're going to be able to do this in future is to get organised. So we had a meeting back at Middlesbrough. We invited as many disabled people who used to go to the matches on a. I mean, the beauty of it was that the game was in March, so we had like 2 months to get our act together, and we had a couple of meetings, formulated a constitution, got a membership drawn up, and then we went ahead following season as MDSA, Middlesbrough Disabled Supporters Association. We just went from strength to strength, and so. But,
definitely.
As you know, we've got our own transport and stuff like this that we use, and I tend to believe that we save the borough an awful lot of chew, because we organise our own ticketing, we organise our own travel, which saves them a hell of a job anyway. And we built up a nice little network with clubs, with disabled fans in other clubs. There's very rarely is any aggravation or whatever. Everybody seems to welcome us with open arms and stuff.
Yeah. Like you say, I can vouch for all of that, Paddy. And Kev Short's been in touch with us there, and he said he's aware of your work, Paddy. Brilliant stuff, mate. You're a proper fan. And like you say, Paddy, I've had the honour and the privilege of accompanying you and the rest of the wheelies, as you're all known, on the bus to many away games and the great days out. And it's more than just football, isn't it? It's just everything that goes with it.
Yeah, it's a social part of life. You know what I mean? It's a get together. It's you meet up with people of your own sort of ilk, if you like. You know what I mean? We don't discriminate between able-bodied. We'll take able-bodied people with us, like you.
Yeah. Put up with me. I know you do, mate. I know.
Well, the premise is we'd sooner go with a full bus than an empty bus. Because the more it's on the bus, the cheaper it works out. Yeah. And we tend not to overcharge, or the tickets are always whenever we pay for the tickets, that's passed on to yourselves. And so there we go, really.
And talking of away days, Paddy, you must have had some memorable ones. I'm not just talking about the last few years. I mean, you might want to tell some of the viewers about some of the European trips that you did.
It might be best not saying anything about some of the European trips. But yeah, no, that was when we first got the bus, I foolishly said when we got the keys handed over, said, "Oh well." When Alistair was there, Alistair Brownlee, he said, "What do you expect?" I said, "Well, I'll make a promise now, Alistair. If we ever do manage to get into Europe, we'll take the bus." And I had to, I shouldn't. I was a bit presumptuous there, but it worked out. And we didn't think that the first game away was going to be in Ostrava in the Czech Republic. 2,000 miles away. So there you go. We said it, so we had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was an unbelievable trip, that one. I mean, any others that come to mind? Rome. Rome was a bit naughty. I'm not sure if you probably know about the trouble after the game.
Yeah.
In the communal car parks and everything. So that extended to us as well as the able-bodied fans. Yeah. We were in the middle of a lot of chew. The night before, on the first night in Rome, we were in a bar, and the next minute the police came in and said, "Everybody out." Everybody out. We've only just got in. I said, "You'll have to get out." We thought, "Oh, well, this is a good start, isn't it?" You know what I mean? The away fans said, "No, nothing to do with the away fans." They said, ultras. Oh, all right. So, and then we did get out. But if we'd have stayed in there, as you probably heard, the place was invaded by the local lunatics, and lads were getting stabbed with knitting needles up the backside and all sorts, and glasses thrown over them and everything. So it's a bit of an eventful trip.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I know you mentioned there about the bus, and you've also been over the years supported by a lot of local businesses, haven't you? We couldn't do without
the help of local businesses, and especially the Boro fans.
Yeah.
We have a really good deal with like Scott Brothers, a local company. They help us massively.
Yeah.
We've had was it? It's gone off my head now. There's that many people. You forget who's helped you and who hasn't helped you.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you always do like supporters player of the year, like dues, don't you, at the end of each year in January, and they're always very successful, always very well attended, and the whole squad attend. And again, I think that just shows the esteem that not only yourselves but the supporters as a whole and as a group are held by all Boro fans in the club.
Yeah, well, I like to think that it's because of things like this that we do get that privilege.
Yeah.
Sadly, I don't know if it'll happen again this year, due to the COVID stuff and what have you, and social distancing and whatever. Because we normally have a full room, as you know.
Yeah.
And we'd be lucky to be getting 40, 50 people in. The way legislation is at the moment, that just doesn't help us in any shape or form other than it means. And again, would we be able to get all the players there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I doubt it. We are hoping to still do the Player of the Year and the Young Player of the Year. We always, like you say, we always have ours in January, because it's a Player of the Season really.
Yeah.
It goes from January to December. Whereas normally the Player of the Year stuff is it was always after the players had gone on holiday.
Right.
So we have to wait till the following season to do a catch up with awards and stuff like that.
And just before we look at the Norwich game at the weekend, Paddy, I've spoken to Joe before about this and how fans have coped since the lockdown and not being allowed to go to matches again, stuff like that. How's it been for you not being able to go, and how does this sort of affect your routines and what you normally look forward to at the end of a week?
Well, there's nothing to look forward to, is there, other than you stream on your website, or I used to go to my local club when we were away and watch it in the club, but obviously since lockdown, clubs haven't been open, so I haven't been able to go there even, you know.
Yeah.
So I've had to make do with scratch what I can on the websites and the Boro streams and things like that.
Yeah, and it's good, but it's not the same. It's nowhere near the same, is it?
Well, I went to the Bournemouth one, you know, when they had 1,000 fans, and that was so surreal. It was unbelievable, you know. And but I thought, well, if we can do it for 1,000 fans, why couldn't we have 1,000 in each stand?
Yeah, true.
Couldn't, you know, maybe get 4,000 fans there?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought, because there was no hiccups as far as I could tell. And the feedback that I got afterwards, everybody behaved themselves and the whole thing went perfect, you know.
I think our local supermarket here has more than 1,000 in on a Friday afternoon. So, I mean, you tell me what's safer than the other side of there.
I've watched one or two non-league things, you know, like Thornaby and Stockton, what have you. But even them, they've been curtailed as well. So you can't get a football fix that way.
No, you can't at the minute. Well, Joe, you've been waiting patiently there. It's been great and fascinating to listen to Paddy, as it always is. We're going to switch down to Saturday's game against Norwich. Unfortunately, the unbeaten run came to an end, and it would have to at some time. And still, 2 defeats in the first 12 games. You'd have settled for that at the start of the season, wouldn't you, Joe?
Yeah, especially coming against two sides that were already relegated in the Premier League last season. In the meantime, it's obviously sad to lose an unbeaten run, especially at this sort of stage of the season. But Norwich, I want the side to probably could be end up pushing for promotion at the end of the season. So we kind of had hit a bit of bad luck around that time, I think.
Yeah. And Paddy, you mentioned there earlier on about the Player of the Year for the disabled supporters last year, and that was Johnny House. And again, he's been offered a new contract today. He's signing an extension to his contract. I thought him and Saville played really well, especially in the first half on Saturday, getting in amongst Norwich. He's been a great signing for us, hasn't he, Howson?
Absolutely. I think. Well, my personal view is I think the two standout players for us this season. Well, it's three now if you count Boro. But you've got McNair and you've got Johnny Howson. They're doing it week in, week out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know the young ones like Bowler and
Dyke Steele.
Dyke Steele's been a revelation as such.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they like signing new players sometimes, right?
Yeah. I think they've just taken a bit of time to settle in, haven't they, mate?
Yeah, well, obviously, you can't expect too much of youth players when are they youth players or under 23s or whatever?
Yeah.
So you know they've earned the corn, shall we say?
Yeah.
I've been really impressed with Howson and McNair.
Yeah, top notch. Joe, with Saturday's game against Norwich, I think it was noticeable that after the break they upped their game a bit. And I think the substitution of Pookie for Hugel also helped as well. But again, when we talk about players that are having a great season so far, Dale Fry, I thought, was immense again on Saturday. And there was a few times in the second half he denied what looked like certain goals for Norwich. He's just been absolutely outstanding so far this season, hasn't he?
He has been, yeah. Especially he coped well, especially in the first half with Hugel. But then ever since the second half and they brought Taba Pukki on, it changed the game completely. And there's two different aspects of it. Like Hugo was more of the standing position kind of guy, where Pukki is more of a threat pace-wise going forward. So you can see the difference, but I think Friday did cope well with him Saturday.
Yeah. And again, Paddy, the turning point in the game was obviously the penalty, the first penalty, Marcus Tavernier penalty we got. First of all, were you surprised to see Tav step up, Paddy?
I wasn't expecting him to take it. No, I thought one of the more senior players would have stepped forward, you know. I think, didn't Paddy McNair have a kick to the back of the leg shortly before the penalty? So maybe he's feeling a bit sore. But I thought, well, why didn't, you know, I thought, well, even Johnny Howson or, you know.
Because I know he missed one, didn't he? I know Paddy missed his last one for the Boro against Birmingham before the first stoppage in the season last year. But I thought maybe either Howson or someone like that maybe would have stepped up.
Saville even, you know. So.
Saville, yeah. But fair play to the goal.
Sorry, John?
Akpom, yeah.
Yeah, or unfortunately, Paddy, there was no Mike Riley refereeing on Saturday, so he wouldn't let that one go, would he?
Was he definitely from Hartlepool, that referee? I've heard so many tales. He was.
Yeah.
I don't think he's on Neil Warnock's Christmas card list, is he?
I don't think he'll be on ours, that's the certainty. But, no, I don't know. It seemed to be a funny one, that when Tav slipped. I mean, it's shades of Carling Cup final, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Was it, I don't know, undue overwatering on the pitch? I don't know. Or did he have no stud?
Yeah, I think it's the square as well.
Yeah, because some of them, they're like slippers, aren't they, some of them?
Yeah. I mean, Kev Short's being such a you'll sympathise with this, Paddy. He said, as a Celtic fan, I'm getting a bit fed up with Tav's brother being so lethal from the penalty spot. Shame it doesn't seem to run in the family. And on that note, he wasn't much cop at Celtic either. Unreal to see his transformation. I mean, well, talking about their penalty, Joe, there wasn't really any argument about Norwich's penalty, was there?
No, I can definitely tell that that Coulson did hackle the legs of Buendia to give away that penalty. And obviously, Timo Pukki, the striker that he is, dispatched it well. And I think that was the turning point of the game where I think after that, once the goal went in, I think Norwich just kept it defensive most of the game. Another talking point was, I was going to mention, was the debut of Sam Falarin. I think he did well in his
Like I said, not many forwards, are we?
I've seen him once or twice in the kids' teams, and he's a flying machine once he gets going.
Yeah.
But he didn't really have a chance to get into gear, did he? But I thought what he did well. But,
and like you mentioned there, Joe, there's been a lot of focus at the weekend about strikers and goals and that, and we've scored 9 goals now in 12 league matches. And there's people being quite critical of the forward line or maybe the way we play. Yeah. What's your view on it, Paddy?
On what, the forward line?
Yeah, and just the fact that we don't seem to be scoring many goals.
Well, it's I don't know. It's obviously got something to do with the players we've got up there. I mean, Brick, you know, is either brilliant or he's crap, isn't he? Well, I mean, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any belief when they get the ball on the edge of the box that they can score. You know what I mean? They've always got to try and pass it on to let someone else have a go. You know what I mean? Instead
sorry, Paddy. Do you think it's the way we're maybe set up as well, in terms of that we do just play with one man up front and we seem to be more containing rather than going for things?
Well, I mean, you can't really say that though, James, because we've gone 10 games unbeaten, haven't we, after losing the first game? So something must be working. You know, I know we haven't been scoring, but we've been getting the points. Yeah. I don't know. It's a strange one.
Sorry, Joe. I mean, again, linking into all that is obviously there's still a growing clamour and people going on about Patrick Roberts. Now, again, at the weekend, he got the last 10 minutes of the game. Do you think he needs more game time? Do we need to find a way? Or do you think Neil Warnock's just wanting to just keep hitting games and maybe trying to make us as competitive as we are? Like Paddy said, we've gone, like I said, 10 games undefeated. And maybe it's difficult to change a formula, which seems to be working well and getting results. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think that the whole part of being defensive is what kept us unbeaten in the first place now. But I think with Roberts, I think it's the fact that he, I'm not sure whether it's something to do with his hamstring problem that's just keeping him away. Just the thing that Warnock is not taking a gamble on him at all.
Warnock can come out and say, look, he's not 100%, so don't expect too much. But you know what I mean? But if that's the case, why put him on the bench? If he's on the bench, for me, he's fit to play.
Yeah.
But
it's just a case of if Warnock wants to take a gamble on that, which at the moment he's not doing.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, what they call him from Sunderland going to have a
What more?
Yeah. He might be playing on Wednesday, mightn't he? With a bit of,
I mean,
you know, mix it up a bit. Tuba's been okay for me. You know what I mean? He's not frightened to put his foot through the ball. So he's a bit wayward sometimes, but at least he's having a go.
Yeah. Matthew Bateman, thanks for watching, mate. He's been touching. I think Matthew's suggesting that both Akpom and the Sombalonga struggle as a lone striker. I mean, it is a thankless role, isn't it, Joe? It's a tough task to be on your own front, often against two centre halves, and often you're feeding off scraps, aren't you?
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. I said before many a times I would prefer to see two strikers up front instead of one with the number 10 playing behind, because I think I would have said all along if Akpom and Sombalonga were playing together, you'd probably guaranteed to get the best out of both of them. But I think we're just stuck in the system at the moment where you have someone like either Tavernier or possibly Roberts if he comes in, or Watmore if he comes in, and possibly sometimes Wing as well. It's just a case of them playing behind, and we could have Akpom and Sombalonga playing together.
Yeah. David Jackson's been in with a great point there. Thanks for watching, David, and thanks for your contribution to the show. David's suggesting that if we play the style that we do play with one man up front, we need someone like a Jukovic to play that formation for it to work. And I think it's no secret, Paddy, that in the summer he tried to buy Kiefer Moore, who was at Barnsley and he's gone to Cardiff. And I think he probably would have suited our formation really well, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I mean, to have a leader of the line of one man up front, you need someone of Viduka's ilk, don't you? But you're never going to find one of them. They're far and few between, aren't they? But he's the type of player. Well, Jukovic is similar. Play with his back to goal and bring players in and set play up. But it's, I don't like you say, it's a difficult job playing one man forward line.
Definitely is.
And if you play two up front, then you need support behind. You either play with a 3 or a 4 behind.
Yeah.
So what do you do? 4-4-2?
Yeah, I think he's reluctant to change it. He's got a formation which seems to work for him, and it's worked for him in the past at other clubs, hasn't it? And I think Warnock will be loath to sort of change that. I mean, Joe, bearing in mind we've only lost 2 games since the start of the season, they've both been to clubs that have just got relegated out the Premier League by 1 goal. Games that could have gone either way. Do you think that's an illustration of how far Neil Warnock's brought the club in 5 months? We're now like a little bit disappointed that we've lost to 2 sides that were in the Premier League last year.
Yes, like I said, the 2 losses came against sides that were relegated from the Premier League, and I think since then, ever since Warnock took over, I think you can see the changes that have been done throughout the team. Against like sides. Last season when we beat Reading, when we beat Sheffield Wednesday last season, there was a bit of the squad togetherness that we see every time now, and I think going into the next few months of the season, it's going to be crucial of having that squad togetherness from now until around May time. Yeah.
And Paddy, before we leave the Norwich game, the other grumble that Neil Warnock had at the end of the game on Saturday was about Jakob Sorensen. He should have had a red card. What was your view on that?
It was a hard one to call, but he couldn't have complained if he did get a second yellow.
Yeah.
In my view. But he didn't get it, so, we've got to live with it, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'd have been disappointed if it was the other way around. and it was one of our players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
to be fair to Norwich, Ben Gibson and Grant Hadley did play well to keep our attacking strikers at bay on Saturday as well.
Yeah, they did. They played well. I mean, before we leave that game, and obviously you've mentioned earlier on, Paddy, Duncan Watmore's joined us from our nearest and dearest, Sunderland. What sort of role do you see him fulfilling in the squad, and what part do you think he might have to play?
I think you might be looking to play him as a number 10.
Right.
You know, or a pseudo number 9, if you like. You know, but I don't think he'd be an out-and-out front man. No, I don't think. Did he play that way at Sunderland? I don't know if he did, to be honest.
Yeah, he sort of like. You say that again?
Striker, was he at Sunderland?
Yeah, I think it's mostly attacking right winger. I think Warnock said in his interview that he's going to use him more in that same position. I think.
Yeah. The only thing, if he does play him out wide, then it affords him the possibility of Patrick Roberts playing as a 10, up alongside a centre forward. You know, be it Britt or Schubert or whoever.
Yeah, I think it's good to have those options, isn't it? Owen's been in touch with us here. Owen Fantaro, Norwich City fan. Thanks for watching, Owen. I'm sure you've enjoyed those 3 points you've took off us at the weekend. Now, in fairness, Owen said that he thought it was unlucky with the penalty with Tavernier. And I must admit, you had to look very closely to see that it was a double hit. But I think what gave it away for me was like maybe Tav's reaction. Do you agree with that, Paddy?
Yeah, he seemed to realise what he'd done and shrugged his shoulders, wasn't it? But, you know, he sort of gave the game away a bit. Made the referees line up for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Stephen Chunky Walker, a regular on the show, Stephen's also mentioned there that he thought that we outplayed Norwich in huge parts of the game. What do you feel about that, Joe?
I don't know. What was that again?
He thought that we outplayed Norwich in huge parts of the game at the weekend. Did you see it like that? Or do you think it was more even?
I think first half we had created chances. I remember my first chance we had in the first half. Marvin Johnson had that good chance, which Crew obviously saved. And then there were large parts of the game where we thought, you know, that we couldn't actually get a goal in. But obviously, on the day, Norwich did get the goal in the end, and obviously that decided the game.
Yeah.
I think it was always going to be a 1-goal game, wasn't it? To be fair.
I think it's going to be like that for a lot of our games this year, Paddy, to be honest.
But I mean, I can't fault Neil Wannock with or the players, even with the results we've had against the higher up teams. You know what I mean? It's just a shame we're not burying the bottom teams, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, we should be getting 3s and 4s against some of them.
Well, talking to the bottom teams, obviously on Wednesday night we've got the Wayne Rooney show rolling into town. Paddy, are you surprised to see Derby at the foot of the table?
I am, yeah. Especially with the manager like Cocker, because he's a sort of football theologian, isn't he? He's you know, very very astute, sort of tactical, but he just hasn't been able to cut the mustard, has he?
No.
And he's paid the price.
Yeah. And Joe, I mean, Derby, they've only had 1 win so far this season, but as Paddy's alluded to, they've got some really good players in that squad. I mean, you've got not only Rooney, you've got Martin Waghorn, Tom Lawrence, Wayne Holmes. They've got some really good players. So, what sort of game are you expecting on Wednesday night?
I mean, Derby obviously no slouch, but it's just a shame they're in the position where they are at the moment. So, I mean, speaking of good players, obviously they've got half a decent goalkeeper as well, and David Marshall as well. Yeah. They're on a high up the kind of Scotland Euros. And they've also developed players well from their youth academy as well. You've got Sibley, Morgan Whittaker, Jason Knight, who come through their academy. So they've got good players in their ranks. I think it's just fortunate that they're in the position, that Derby in the position where they are at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest. But I was probably not surprised a little bit because of their antics towards us off the field last season.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get much sympathy in the boardroom at the Boro, to be honest. I think that'll be in short supply. But Paddy, it's a big game actually now on Wednesday because yes, we've had a good start to the season, but it's also, if you flip it, you can change things however way you want to look at it. But it's 3 games without a win, 3 games without a goal now for Boro. So this is a big match on Wednesday night, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got to kick on, get back on track, and we definitely need to be the dominating team on Wednesday. We need to get 3 points at home. But I think home form needs a bit of an improvement, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, results-wise, we haven't been too bad at home, but you want to convert these draws into 3 points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we seem to be playing better on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have done for the last few seasons, haven't we? Whether it's cost us less pressure. But we haven't got a home crowd pressurising the players at home at this moment in time.
I was going to ask you about that, Paddy. Do you think, in a funny sort of way, there being no crowds in the ground, do you think that's maybe helped the Boro in a weird sort of way, that there's not the pressure on them to perform, especially in the Riverside? Do you think it suits them, no fans being in there at the minute?
I think it does, really. I don't think there's any problem with it. As speaking as someone who can't go to the games, it's frustrating as hell.
Yeah.
And I find myself screaming and shouting at the TV and God knows what. So I don't know what it'd be like if I was allowed back in.
So go on then, lad. I'll come to you first, Joe. What's your prediction for Wednesday night?
I think we've got to win this one after Saturday. So I think we'll probably get a 2-0 win. We need to build us up after what happened on Saturday, and I think that this fixture coming up and the game coming up away at Huddersfield are going to be crucial for us.
Yeah. Paddy, how about yourself? How do you see Wednesday going?
I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think Derby's going to come here, probably looking for a draw. Well, hopefully they'll come out and make a game of it, but I think they'll sit back and look for a break of some sort. But I think if we can get the first goal, I think we'll score 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So
fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed.
I mean, if we do score the first one, they can't afford to sit back because they need the points to get away from the bottom.
Yeah.
So they've got to go chasing goals as well, haven't they? Really?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. David Smith's been in touch. Thanks, David. He's gutted that we lost the game at the weekend, but I hope we can get a reaction against Derby on Wednesday, at least more than a 1-0. To be honest, Paddy, I'd take a 1-0 now. I just 3 points to be happy with it.
If it was a case of getting 3 points, you'd take the 1-0, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course you would. And Stephen Walker again has just mentioned there about that it's a crazy league, the Championship, and nothing surprises me anymore, and any result can happen. And that's it. You've got a team like Derby, bottom of the league. It wouldn't surprise you if they did start picking up some results, would it?
No, I mean, the crazy situations were 4 points off the top.
Yeah.
But we're in 8th place.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? That shows how crazy the division is.
Yeah.
But there again, we could be Sunderland, couldn't we?
Well, hey, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, mate. We're going to round off the week, though, boys. We're going to Huddersfield. Unfortunately, we're not going to Huddersfield, but that's where the Boro ended at the weekend. Have either of you, we'll come to you first, Joe, have you got any special memories or happy memories of previous visits to watch the Boro at Huddersfield?
Yeah, I can remember one. I think it was the season we got promoted. I remember being out in the pouring rain, and especially in that open air concourse as well. But at the end of the day, we went out 2-0 winners with the goals from Adam Clayton and Emilio and Sue. That's my best memories. And I went there last season when we drew 0-0. But Huddersfield's one of my favourite away grounds to go to, in my honest opinion. To be obviously, a shame we're not going there this season.
Yeah.
But as far as the team Huddersfield goes, we've obviously got a good coach in there with Carlos Corberan, who's obviously an apprentice to Marcelo Bielsa, of course. And I've actually done all right this season, to be fair, James.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. How about yourself, Paddy? Any memories from past trips to Huddersfield?
Oh, one or two memories on the bus.
You want to see the bus or the club?
No, we almost lost one of our wheelies on at Huddersfield. He was getting pushed, and the bloke who was pushing him decided he wanted to have a fag. He let go of his handlebars, and he's way down the bank on his own.
That's just usual for an away day with the wheelies, that, mate, to be honest.
And then when he was about 10 yards away, he realised he'd gone. So it was a mad dash to try and get open. I remember a couple of years ago, was it the really misty night when we scored?
That was a midweek game, that, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bloody freezing cold, foggy night in Huddersfield.
Yeah.
But, so we had some good trips to Huddersfield, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
bearing in mind, lads, it's like this is going to be the way it's going to be up until Christmas. Now we're going to have a double-header week with 2 games in the week. What do you see as being an acceptable return from these 2 games, Derby and Huddersfield, in terms of points? I'll come to you first, Pad.
I would say going through the season, I would like to see us get 4 points a week.
Yeah.
2 points a game on average, which is, it might be a bit of an ask, but I think we've got to be looking for that as a minimum.
Yeah.
If we're going to do anything.
Yeah. How about yourself, Joe?
I'd definitely say it's a 6-pointer. I mean, Huddersfield have been scoring a fair amount of goals themselves, even though they were just unlucky not to beat Stoke this past weekend. So we've had good times away from home. So I think if we take, obviously, the win on Wednesday night and then the win at Huddersfield on Saturday, I'll be doubly happy going into the game coming up after that at home against Swansea.
Yeah. No, good point. Like I say, I think most Boro fans, lads, will be looking for between 4 and 6 points this week, but it is a big ask when it's a quick turnaround of games, isn't it?
Well, we've got to make sure that the players are ticking over. I mean, he's got to. I wouldn't be surprised to see him like changing them around, week game by game, because I don't think he can afford to play the same 11 all the time.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Lads, it's been great having you both on tonight. I'm afraid we've run out of time in tonight's show. Can I thank you both for coming on? It's been an absolute pleasure and great to speak to you both, lads.
It's been a blast. I must have got on this time.
That's it.
Playing technology, James.
And as well as thanking these 2 lads, can I thank everybody that's been watching tonight and contributing to the show. Don't forget to keep it Boro Fan TV this week as we commence a busy run of fixtures from now until Christmas. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Boro Fan TV. From us all here at Boro Fan TV and from myself, Joe and Paddy, good night and up the Boro.
Up the Boro.